Have you ever pondered the connection between the Quran, 1400-year-old holy book, and modern science? This might seem like a curious question, but the Quran, the sacred scripture of Islam, claims to be a divine revelation, a timeless guide for humanity. It's not just a spiritual guide, but it also contains passages that surprisingly resonate with modern scientific facts. Yes, you heard it right. The Quran, a text that emerged in the 7th century, holds within its verses scientific truths that were only discovered centuries later. From the intricacies of human development to the vastness of the cosmos, from the geological nuances of the Earth to the mysteries of the deep sea, there's a fascinating alignment of the Quran's verses with modern scientific discoveries. Now, isn't that something worth exploring? Intrigued? Let us dive deeper into the fascinating correlation between the Quran and science. Did you know the Quran made references to space and celestial bodies long before the telescope was invented? In the vast expanse of the universe, the Quran offers a remarkably accurate portrayal of celestial bodies. We'll delve into a few of these references and compare them to our modern understanding of astronomy. Let's begin with Surah An-Naba, verse 13. We have adorned the nearest heaven with stars. This verse not only mentions stars, but also alludes to the layered structure of the universe, an idea that closely aligns with modern astronomical knowledge. Another intriguing verse is from Surah Yasin, verse 40. It is not for the sun to overtake the moon, nor does the night outstrip the day. Each floats in an orbit. This verse suggests that the sun and the moon move in distinct orbits, a fact that is well known in the field of astronomy today. The Quran also speaks about the sun's trajectory in Surah Yasin, verse 38, and the sun runs on to a place of its own. That is the decree of the Almighty, the All-Knowing. This verse hints at the sun's movement within the Milky Way, an astronomical concept that was discovered only in the 20th century. Let's also consider Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 33, and He it is who created the night and the day and the sun and the moon. They float, each in an orbit. This verse resonates strongly with our contemporary understanding of the universe, where celestial bodies, including the sun and the moon, follow specific orbits. These are just a few examples of how the Quran presents a fascinating narrative on astronomy. The verses we've discussed today were revealed over 1,000 years ago, long before the advent of modern technology or the telescope, yet they bear an uncanny resemblance to what we now know about the universe. Astounding, isn't it? But that's just the beginning. Let's explore more. The Quran also sheds light on the stages of human development, a field that was relatively unknown during its revelation. Let's dive into the Quran's insights on embryology, a science that was not fully understood until many centuries later. The Quran describes the creation of a human being in a sequence of stages, much like the way a modern embryologist would. In Surah Al-Mu'minun, verses 12 to 14, the Quran speaks of man's creation from a quintessence of clay, then as a drop of sperm, then as a leech-like clot, then as a chewed lump, and finally as bones clothed with flesh. This description remarkably aligns with the stages of embryonic development as we understand them today. Let's take a closer look. The drop of sperm is a clear reference to the fertilization process. The leech-like clot is an intriguing metaphor, as the early embryo does attach itself to the uterine wall like a leech, drawing nourishment. Then the chewed lump stage refers to the somite stage of the embryo. At this point in development, the embryo has small bead-like structures that resemble teeth marks in a chewed substance. Finally, the bones clothed with flesh stage. It is well known now in the field of embryology that the skeletal structure begins to form before the muscles. The Quran's description of bones being clothed with flesh accurately reflects this. Now, it's important to note that these stages of embryonic development were not fully understood until the advent of microscopes, and detailed study of the human embryo was not possible until the 20th century. Yet these verses were revealed in the 7th century, over 1,000 years before such scientific insights were gained. This correlation between Quranic verses and modern embryology is indeed intriguing. It invites us to reflect on the Quran as not just a spiritual guide, but also as a book containing knowledge far ahead of its time. It's quite fascinating to see the Quran discussing embryology in such intricate detail, isn't it? But the miracles don't end here. Did you know the Quran provides insights into the Earth's geology long before humans had the technology to explore it? Let's delve into some of the specific Quranic verses that shed light on the Earth's structure. In Surah An-Nazi'at, verse 30, the Quran says, "And after that he spread the earth." The Arabic term for spread here is dahaha, which also means an ostrich egg. This hints at the geoid shape of the earth, a revelation made 14 centuries ago, long before the advent of modern science. Moving on, let's explore the Quran's insights on mountains. In Surah An-Naba, verse 7, the Quran describes mountains as pegs, implying their deep roots. Modern geology affirms this, revealing that mountains have deep roots under the surface and play a crucial role in stabilizing the Earth's crust. Now let's turn to the seas. The Quran in Surah Ar-Rahman, verse 19, states, "He has let loose the two seas, converging together with a barrier between them they do not break through." This verse refers to the phenomenon where two bodies of water meet yet maintain their individual properties, a fact confirmed by modern marine science. Moreover, the Quran in Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 30, mentions, "We made from water every living thing." Today, science confirms that all organisms, including humans, are primarily composed of water. Lastly, let's consider the Quran's description of natural calamities. In Surah Al-Hajj, verse 1, the Quran warns of an impending earthquake of enormous magnitude, described as the shaking of the hour. Modern geology recognizes that severe earthquakes have the potential to drastically alter the Earth's geography. Comparing these Quranic verses with modern geological knowledge, we see a striking alignment. How could a book from the 7th century accurately describe the Earth's geology, from its shape and mountains to its seas and natural calamities? Who would have thought the Quran would describe the Earth's geology with such accuracy? But there's more. The Quran's references to astronomy, embryology, and geology are just a few examples of its scientific miracles. Let's take a moment to review these marvels. In the realm of astronomy, the Quran speaks of celestial bodies moving in orbits, a concept that was alien to the 7th century world. It mentions the sun's own orbit, a fact that was only confirmed by modern science in the 20th century, not to mention its reference to the expanding universe, a concept that aligns seamlessly with the Big Bang theory. Turning to embryology, the Quran provides a vivid description of human development in the womb, accurately capturing the stages of growth. This was penned at a time when such knowledge was virtually non-existent. It's only in recent years that science has corroborated these descriptions, further solidifying the Quran's status as a book far ahead of its time. Lastly, we explored the Quran's insights on geology. It describes mountains as stabilizing pegs, which aligns with our understanding of the role mountains play in maintaining the Earth's crust. It also mentions the separation of the seas, a fact that mirrors the scientific concept of water salinity and its effect on oceanic boundaries. So here we stand in the face of a book that was revealed over 14 centuries ago, yet it holds knowledge that was light years ahead of its time. Knowledge that was unknown at the time of its revelation, but is now being confirmed by modern science. This raises the question, are these merely coincidences, or is there a greater force at play? Could these be the scientific miracles that believers speak of, or are they just interpretations made with the benefit of hindsight? So, does the Quran contain scientific miracles, or is it just coincidence? The decision is yours to make. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning. As we wrap up, remember that the Quran is not a scientific textbook, but a guide for life. It's an invitation to ponder upon the wonders of our universe, to delve deeper into the mysteries that lie beyond our immediate understanding. The scientific miracles we've discussed today are just the tip of the iceberg. The Quran is a treasure trove of wisdom, waiting to be unearthed by those who dare to venture into its depths. Yet it's not about accepting everything at face value. Critical thinking, open-minded exploration, and a thirst for knowledge are the true keys to unlocking its secrets. So let this be the start of your journey, not the end. Let the wonders of the Quran inspire you to seek out more, to question, to learn, and to grow. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. Stay curious and keep exploring the wonders of the Quran and science.